we just made. And then we're going to transfer possession of the vessel from the blowpipe, where it is now, onto this other solid stick. They'll only stay together for as long as they are both of similar temperature. So they both have to stay warm, and you have to be careful that you don't bonk your punky rod against anything, or else the piece will just fall off. And so this is when we really start walking the tightrope while we make this piece. And so you see, Andrew has taken the punky rod, touched it onto the center, made a couple fine adjustments. He's going to put a drop of water on the jack line, and he's going to tap the pipe. This is going to send a shock wave through the pipe, and we have a successful transfer. Let's hear it. Hey! When you first start blowing glass, that's when everything goes wrong. If you're too slow attaching the punty, when you put it on and then you bonk your piece off of the pipe, it comes off of the pipe, which is what you want, but it also comes off of the punty and bounces on the floor and smashes. Or if you're too cold, instead of cracking along the jack line, it'll crack the long one, or it'll crack in half. There are about 10,000 ways that you can mess up, and about 2 or 3 ways that you can get through it right. So that's always a very critical point in the process. We have a lot of experience up here, so we do make it look pretty seamless for the most part. Andrew, how many years do you have of blowing glass? 6, I think, yeah. So it takes about 6 years to start to get really have like control of your material. Andrew blew glass in high school. He had a high school program, and he's in college now. Katie, you have about 10 years experience. She's been blowing glass for a while also. Thank you. Huh? Yeah. So like I was talking about, sometimes stuff happens when I'm playing stuff. The neck popped off. But Andrew's working through it. He just heated the top and tweezed to draw it out a little bit. And so we'll see where we end up with this. There we go. Back in business. And so you can see, Andrew did a big heat, pulled it with his tweezers, and then just cut the glass. Anybody ever cut glass with scissors up there? Anyone ever tried that? You want to know what it feels like to cut the glass? It feels like cutting an orange peel. Orange peel. It's kind of soft, and when you dig into it with the shears, there's a little bit of give, and then there's no more give, and that's when you cut through it. But it is a weird sensation. It's fun. Any questions so far? Is this wax right here that we keep touching our tools against? That is exactly what it is. It's beeswax. We want the jacks to slide across the glass. We don't want them to make marks. And so they started using beeswax about 2,000 years ago, and it's pretty perfect. You've had a question for a long time. What's your question? Talent. It takes a long time. You just have to you learn a bunch of different shapes, and then it's sort of like learning. You know how you learn the alphabet, and then you make words. You don't just start making words. It's the same sort of thing. First you learn some basic kind of shapes, and then from there, then you can do more complex shapes. But there's basically like 3 shapes There's like cone, there's trumpet, and there's circle. And then you just kind of stack them up on each other. And you learn how to work through making all those shapes. How do we get different colors? That's an awesome question. Just going back to Andrew real quick, you'll notice that he has totally recovered. So he tweezed, trimmed, and has cut a second line in, and he's got a neck on this again. Good save. So we add color right in the beginning, right when we do our first gather. If we were going to add color, one way we could add color would be adding frit, F-R-I-T. And what frit is crushed up glass that is colored already. The way that we get color into the glass is that we add either metal oxides or metal chlorides to raw glass, and then we melt it. Do you know any metal oxides? I bet you know one. Metal oxides. So when something oxidizes, that means it breaks down. Do you know anything that breaks down? So it gets like eaten up. Have you ever seen rust? You know what rust is? Yeah, rusty metal. So if I take some rusty metal, some rusty iron, and I crunch it up, and I put that powder into some glass, guess what color I get? Green. Yeah, and so we get from coppers, we get some blues. From cobalt, we get dark, rich blues. Cadmium, we get yellow. Iron oxide gives us greens. So going back to the piece, sorry I got distracted. I'm actually the tech here, and so I mix up the colors when we do colored glass. And so I've been mixing up this year, then making a bunch of iron green for our ancient furnace, because we're doing a wood-fired furnace campaign this summer to support the Dig Deeper. Have any of you guys been up to the Dig Deeper? Seen that yet? It's very cool. It's about archaeology and uncovering a glass shop and how they did it 2,000 years ago. And so I made a 2,000 year ago furnace. So Katie has gathered up some glass. She turned it into a cylinder, and she's serving it to Andrew right now. He attached it to just below the neck of the piece. And now he's spinning this around, grabbing it with his tweezers, and touching it back against the base. How about that, huh? Yeah. So it's real hard to add handles to stuff. They say, there's a saying, the quickest way to ruin a good piece of glass is to put two handles on it. Because you got to make a match. Luckily, Katie is serving Andrew an exactly identical handle as the first one. And so, Katie set up the heat by putting it on the marble. Andrew touches down. And now he wants to try to do everything the same way that he did the first one. He's got his stretch, his turn, his touchdown. Ah, not bad at all. Yeah. It's really hard to do something like that 2 times in a row. So a couple little fine-tuning adjustments. So now, Andrew has made the bottom of the vase. He puntied. Now he's just finished up the top of the vase. We have one more major thing that we have to do. And that is, we have to get this piece off of the pipe and put it into an oven called an annealing oven. Annealing is the act of cooling something very slowly so that you relieve all of the stresses that are trapped in it. And so This oven is our cooling oven. It's at 965 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's hear it for Andrew. And so that oven is at 965. It's going to stay there all day. Tonight, when we're done working, we'll put it into a 12-hour program that'll slowly cool and release all the stresses that are trapped in that glass. And then tomorrow, we'll be able to pick it up and touch it with our hands. Let's have one last round of applause for Andrew and Katie. And I'll take a couple of questions. You?